Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to talk about Python and variables working within that. This is the second part within the Python series. If you have not already watched Python installation, I'll post that link within the description so you could watch that. But let's try and see how we could declare those variables, define different kinds of variables, and how we could use them within Python. So friends, let's see how we could define those variables. Let's say I just need to define a very simple variable. Let's say A is my name, and I just want to print the value of A. Now, if I just do that and actually get that Python 3, I say variables.py, that's my file. So it actually prints Rohit. That's the name or the actual value of that variable A. Now, if you have noted, I have used a Python 3 in Mac OS because Mac OS treats differently, and actually even if you have exported the path, you won't really be able to run your Python programs with the help of Python. So just use Python 3 and then the same your file name with the extension of that. Now let's try doing certain more things. For example, if I say b is equal to let's say we'll try changing it. So I'll just say first name, and this is this, and then I'll say last name, and for example I'll give my last name. And what happens is, so you could actually use, let's say if I use print A and B, now I could just remove this. I don't need this, so I'm just commenting it out. But now I'm trying to print A plus B. So I'm using an operator plus, but both are of these string types, right? So if you run this, it is gonna give me an error. Why? Because I didn't change the names. So let's just use the right names. First name plus, and then you give last name, right? So those are the two variables. Let's try running this around. So it gives me Rohit and Dhand. So what it does is, because these are two string values, so it actually concatenates them and then join them together, Rohit Dhand. So it means if I want to kind of use little bit, tweak it, I'll just use it like this and then say plus like this. So I'm inserting knowingly a space, an empty space out there between my first name and a last name. So if we try that, let's see how it works. So yes, it actually inserts a space between that and then prints out my value. Now, if I try to give something like this, let's say first name, and I'll say plus 90, right? Now, 90 is totally kind of an integer value. It's not a string value. But fundamentally, when you try to print that, and you see it's going to give you an error. So it means by default the Python does not convert that string into a integer into a string value. So it definitely gives you an error. Concatenate is not there, but it's if you see, it says, oh, can only concatenate string, not integer. So if I try to now run it with the help of str function, means I'm saying convert that 90 into a representation of string, then 90 won't be represented as an integer in the memory, it is represented as a string, and then try to concatenate with the first name. Now if we try to run this, it actually prints out Rohit plus 90. So it means the concatenate function works on that also. Now there is another function which is like a type function. So if I say, let's say let's say salary is 9,000, age is, let's say 45, and for example, let's say anything let's say another number, let's say something like this. So I'll say 7 point this way, right? Now fundamentally, if you see, we are not defining as those other languages where you define a data type and then you kind of actually define your value like a variable and then assign a value. For example, if you work with C#, like you define an integer and you say C is equal to 10, or like C language or C++, even in Node.js or JavaScript, you don't define the data types and then declare your variables. fundamentally, even if you don't define your define the data type of the variables, but still it is treated something by Python, automatically assigned some kind of a data type within in the by the Python. So now let's say we'll just try to print out. I'll say print type, for example, I'll say first name, that's one, which is there. Then I'll use the paste. So I want to give some another one, let's say salary, that's one. Second is age, and then there is, let's say, another number, right? Now I'm just gonna do this thing and let's see whether it works for us or not. So if you see, it actually defines, like, there are classes. Don't worry about classes, what are they, we'll cover in the next chapters. But then it says int, so salary is definitely an int, age is also is an int, another number we defined 90.47, so it's a type of float because we have decimal places also. And then we defined like first name, which is definitely a string. So it actually created a different type of a like the actual data types that's assigned or being treated by Python. Now let's say even if we do something like this, array is equal to 10, 20, 30. Now if I just want to say print, and I'll say type ARR, now I'll use that and let's see what exactly it does. So array is technically a list type within Python, so it definitely assigns that and lets you know, oh, this is a list of type this one. And of course you could define your hashes, or you have objects also, you could define that, but we'll cover in the other one. So this is the simplistic stuff I just want to kind of explain. Now before we end this video, there are a couple of more things. So if you want to assign, let's say, multiple values, so you could do that way also. So let's say I'll just use I'm just gonna close this one, first name, and this one. So I'll just close this also, and this also. Or let's say I'll just keep it this one, and I'll uncomment this one. What I'll do is we'll just assign multiple one, but I'll assign it over here. So what we'll do is we'll say assigning multiple values. So I say first name, comma, last name, and I'll say Rohit, and I'll say Dhand. Now the way you are assigning is you are saying two variables, first name, comma, last name, and then you are assigning values like Rohit, comma, Dhand. So this means Rohit gets assigned to first name and Dhand gets assigned to the last name. So that's how you could do that. And even if you run this, it would still print you the same values, because we didn't change anything. We just used the same variables, but we have declared it in a different way. So that's one of the things which we should remember. Now we could also define something like this. So let's say I'll define, for example, let's say there is a variable called t, there is a variable called x, and there is a variable called t is equal to x comma y, and then I'll say is equal to, let's say we are learning Python. Now that's how we declare that. Now we are assigning technically one value to t, x, and y variable, and if we want to check it out, let's say x comma, let's say t comma x comma y. So if we do that, let's go back, check that out. So we are learning Python, we are learning Python, and we are learning Python. So all these three values are being assigned, like these three variables get one particular value. And one more thing before we end this video, that's if you want to assign multiple line values, you could do that. So there are two ways to that. So let's say if one want to assign a multi-line value, so I could say multi-line value. So I could do that like by using 3 double quotes out there, and then I'll say Rohit is learning Python, something like that, right? Or you could also say multi-line value 1, which is, and I'll simply say by this one, like single quotes, but 3 single quotes. This is a multi-line variable. So you do that. way, right? Now once you do it, and let's try printing it. So I'll say print multi-line value, that's 1, and I'll use multi-line value 1. Oh, sorry, 1 now. So I just want to get the printing of both. Now if I try to run this, so you could see Rohit is learning Python. This is there. This is a multi-line variable, so you could like use it that way. If you just move it to the next line like this, so you would also get the output similar to that, right? So that's how it gets printed. So I hope guys this video is gonna help you in kind of getting started with Python, working with variables, defining variables. If you want, because today's world the languages are behaving in such a way, like technically you don't need to like what kind of a data types it has. You just define your variable, assign a value, automatically the interpreter or the compiler does the stuff for you. That's how the languages have evolved. When I used to learn like languages like Visual Basic, C or Java, we have to define the data types, we have to know the data types. But it's always good if you know the data types, you fundamentally know how things are, how things could work in that, and you could manipulate that. But even if you don't know the data types, you are defining it like this, okay, Python does the magic for you and gets it done. So I'll be coming back with more videos guys, so stay tuned and have a good one. Thank you.